Hello and welcome back to the Feet and Way Results podcast. I'm Duncan Gorman and I've been joined by my co-host Nathan Weir for another week of the Premiership results. Another 2 weeks, of the Premiership results. Picking up a bit more, we've got some cup games for us as well. The McTavish, we've got to the semi-finals. We don't quite have the draw yet as the time of this recording, but we do have the scores for all the quarterfinals. So as we did last time, we're just going to leave those to the back of the podcast just for easiest sake. So week 7 results stand at Kells Athletic 4, Oban Camanachd 3, Lovett 0 and Newtonmore 3, Caberfeidh 3 and Kilmally 1, Inverary 0, Lochaber 1 and Kinlochshiel 1 and Canusie 4. Some high scoring games there, Nathan.
There really is. I think the first one we have to look at is the Kells Athletic versus Oban Camanachd. 7 goals in that game. That's a great result for Kells Athletic there against a strong Oban side. Still unbeaten in the league. They're really the dark horse, and they started off in this league a few points behind. They weren't able to play some games. Everyone's been looking at Lovett and Canusie, but they've been creeping up and they've been getting points, and they haven't dropped a point so far. So
still a good amount of games in hand as well for Kells. So they'll be looking to just keep their name up there for as long as possible and obviously get their nose in front once they do play the games. The standout result for me is Newtonmore Lovett. Huge for Newtonmore. That was potentially a season-changing game, which could have just destroyed their league hopes. Having a third defeat would have been the end for them, don't you think?
Yeah, they've really rallied here. I think Glenn Mack, his experience, stepping up, scoring 2 crucial goals. Ian Robb getting another goal. It's just fantastic to see. I mean, it's just opened the league right up. I mean, there could be 4. There could be a 4-horse race, and you never know. There could be more coming through the ranks. So it's really good to see. But what a result! I mean, no one could have expected that. And for Lovett to score no goals, I mean, after their scoring
frenzy at the start of the season,
exactly. Yeah. I think big shout out to Rory and Ian for keeping the 2 front men of Lovett totally shackled. It's great to see, and it's good to see that Newtonmore are clearly putting a stake on this title again.
I mean, it's reminiscent of just about the past 3 seasons, where we come out the block slow, get a kick up the arse almost, and once we've had that, we're back into good form, and it is quite incredible how we did toss them aside. I did actually watch that game in person, and Lovett just didn't really have anything. I mean, it was toughly contested till half time, but after half time the game was dead really. Both sides sort of just kept playing, but there was no real competition in it, and it could have been higher as well, of course, with Glenn McIntosh missing a penalty which could have secured his first hat-trick of the season. So a really interesting match-up there, and Lovett are going to struggle after that. Their heads will be down after having such a good start to the season. They always seem to do this thing where as soon as they come to a game of big pressure, they just can't seem to step up. The Camanachd Cup finals over the season against Newtonmore again, spotting a bit of a repetition. So moving on, Kinlochshiel 1 and Canusie 4. Promising from Canusie, which hurts me to say.
Yeah, they're doing well. I mean, they're always the team to watch right now this season. So young, and we've really just got to highlight this boy Savio again. He's got another hat trick here.
I feel like we're stuck in repeat here a wee bit.
Yeah, he's doing very well. But Kinlochshiel are quite low strength right now. They'd be disappointed with that result at home. They feel like they could do a lot better, but they really are on the ropes. 1
goal up as well quite early on. You would have thinking that they'd sort of try and defend that with their lives, as you would, but it is proven hard for some teams, especially in the form that Kinlochshiel are, to stop Savio Giannini. 2nd hat-trick of the season, and it puts Canusie top of the league for the first time in over a decade. Pretty promising for these young boys that have all come through at the same time together. So moving on, we've got Caberfeidh 3 and Kilmally 1. Again, I think Kilmally will be disappointed with this result because they came out the blocks flying, beating Newtonmore 2-0 at Newtonmore's home park. They beat their rivals Lochaber and Caberfet, who maybe only have 2 points at the board at this point, or if that, and they're failing to get past this team. What do you think happened there?
It was a shock result here, actually. You'd be expecting Kamali to go to Caberfet with a strong side, but you never know what happens on the day. And Kilmally had a really strong start. Maybe they even got slightly complacent. Who knows? But they really need to keep fighting here, because they have a good chance to pump up that league. They've got some good forwards. It's a really dangerous side, but I feel like they'll be disappointed after that.
And there's points to be taken this year as well. As we can see, almost every single team other than every team other than Kyle's Athletic has dropped points already, which usually in another season could be quite rare. You usually see a bit of a separation between the top and the bottom half in the first few games, but it's all to play for, and Komali should be looking to take points where they can, and Caberfet is certainly a game where they would have been thinking that could have happened. Inverary versus Lochaber, 1-0. Lochaber win. Inverary still don't have any points. They're really struggling in this league.
Yep, they're just struggling to find the goals, really, and they've got a young side, and I know that the squad's a bit short. They don't have the real depth in the squad, but they have a -9 goal difference, and they really need to sort that out, because they won't survive in this Premier League unless a real turnaround is going to happen. And it's a shame, but we've got to give credit to Lochaber. I mean, they've been holding on. They've got some good results. I mean, they're one of the only teams that have drawn with King, or taken points off Kingussie. They held them to a good 1-1 draw, and yeah, they're doing well, and it's good to see, as we've said a few times before, a club that was really struggling. There was press releases before the start of the season talking about, how they were going to go down, and or would they survive at all, and they've done really well here. So they've always been a battling side, and they've been part of a few relegation battles in the past season, but it's good for them to get the points on the board right now.
Kudos where it's given. Inverary do have 3 games in hand. Although saying that, Kyle's also have 3 games in hand. 2 very different sides, one unbeaten and one which hasn't got any points on the board. Hopefully, for Inverary's sake, if they're wanting to avoid that relegation zone and not securing their place at the bottom of the table too early on, they're going to want to sort of get some points back with those games that they have in hand. So at the end of week 7, we're left with Kingussie moving to first place for the first time in a decade, as I said, with 10 points. Lovett are a close second with 8 points. Kyle's remain unbeaten in third place with 6 points. Fourth place is Newtonmore with 4 points after their victory over Lovett. Kilmally in 5th place with 4 points. Lochaber in 6th place with 3 points. Kinlochshire in 7th place with 3 points. Obancamanach in 8th place with 2 points. And Caberfet in 9th with 2 points. And Inverary sat right at the bottom with no points. And we can have a break if you want.
You can pad out the Shield game if you want.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so moving on to week 8. Not many fixtures in the Premiership this week because of obviously the cup games that are taking place, which we'll speak about later on. Kinlochshire 1, Kilmally 0, Lochaber 1, and Newtonmore 6. A comfortable win for Newtonmore, as you'd expect, but let's speak about Kilmally's second Ronald Ross. Second loss in 2 weeks. Nathan.
Yeah, it was a difficult Ronald Ross for them, I believe. They're really losing momentum. It's a shame to see. They've had great results at the start of the season, beating Lochaber and Newtonmore. You really felt that they were going to pick up, and I said in earlier podcasts that they were going to be one to watch for the season. So I'm a little bit disappointed by this result, but I think Kinlochshire have done really well here, getting their first home win. John McRae scores just after half time, holding out a game, and it shows. It's great to see, because a lot of the more experienced players have become injured, and basically it means that a lot of the younger players have had to step in, have had to see out a really tight game, and it's just great to see that even though they've got a lack of experience and some terrible injuries, they've done really well here to get points off a good team. So they'll be happy from that. They'll be wanting to build on that. And it's just Kilmallie are struggling.
They will be disappointed with that. They're losing against a severely out of form Kinlochshiel team that have had some really bad results. They would have been looking at that game before thinking, look, this is something that we can capitalise on, thinking that they can take points off this big team. A Martin Stewart red card might have played a huge role in this game. I think maybe they just got one behind, the red card, and they just momentum was lost from then. Hopefully over the next 1 weeks, for their sake, they don't go the same way as Inverary have in the start of the season, and they start getting points where they're due as well. So Lochaber are beat by Newtonmore 6-1. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Again, I'm comforted by seeing that Newtonmore are back to good form. Ian Robson scoring a hat trick in this game. pretty impressive. And Ian Robb, as we saw in the Lovat game, he's just electric. He's on fire this season, and he might not be scoring all the goals, but I know that in that forward line he's playing a bigger role than he has done in the last couple of years, and he's really stepping up to that mark. Okay, so not many results during week 8. Again, as I said, because of the cup games. The league doesn't change too much because there's only 2 fixtures, but Canusi stay top of the league with 10 points. Lovat again close second with 8 points. Newtonmore up into 3rd place now, recovering from their bad start of the season with 6 points. Kyle's in 4th place, still unbeaten with 6 points. 5th place is Kinlochshiel with 5 points. 6th is Kilmallie with 4 points. 7th is Lochaber with 3 points. 8th Oban Camanach with 2 points. Caberfay are in 9th place with 2 points, and Inverary are still at the bottom with no points. So moving on to the McTavish, the more exciting part of this podcast at the moment. Quarterfinals have been played. We're still waiting for the semi-finals to be announced, but some interesting fixtures here. Let's start with Canusi and Lovat, probably the 2 giants that we were, as we said in previous podcasts, that we were excited to see battle it out. Canusi dominated, really. 3-1 win for Canusi.
Yeah, so it's great to see another battle between these 2 titans again. But yeah, you just have to feel like Canusi are absolutely flying with it right now. You know, they haven't lost many games and they're scoring well. But also, what's really impressive is that they've managed to shackle the 2 prominent scorers, Mark McLachlan and Greg Matheson. And it's just great to see it. I know they've got a great defence, young defence, but they seem to be handling with the pressure really well. Players like Callum Grant and Rory McEachen. It's really good to see that they're linking up and they're managing to mark such a good forward line really well. But also, if we look at the goal scorers, you know, a mixture of youth and experience. Roddy Young getting 2 goals. I mean, this guy's very clinical. He can ping from any angle, and it's great to see him getting on the scoreline. And also Lee Bain too. I mean, he's been a stalwart for the club for the past 5, 6, even 10 years. He's really been powering away, and he's such an engine room for that Canusi team, and he gives a good amount of experience to this young side.
Yeah, I remember when I was watching, it was just immediately reacting that it was just such a high level of Shinty. You know, these guys, there's no room for mistakes. The ball comes in, they either hit it away first time or their first touch is good enough that it'll take their man out of the game. There really is no room for mistakes. And as we were saying, Roddy Young, big, strong, physical lad, and if he turns you, he's gone. He's got that same turn of pace, which is just incredibly rapid. Remember, a couple of seasons ago, he was playing me in the Strathbairn, and I wasn't marking him, thank God, but I remember he stuck the body on me and I went flying. I was on the ground for about 2 minutes trying to make it look like it wasn't that sore, but yeah, it's incredible that these boys are now stepping up and on their way to the McTavish semi for the first time in a good while. So moving on, the other promising one, well, a couple games here between national sides. The first of which was Glenurquhart, who beat Skye 2-1. A really close game there, and I've heard that the keepers really kept the scores down, and that really both forwards were on fire as well.
Yeah, these are 2 sides to watch that have been doing very well in the national. 2 big sides, and you just feel like it's a clash of the Titans. You almost feel like they're unlucky not to be progressing, to be progressing to future rounds. But it's good to see scoring from Neil Reid coming in again. You know, he took a break from Shinty last year, and he's come back, and he's been absolutely banging them in for the national team, the national division. So it's just a really high-profile game here, and I feel like this was one to watch.
Yeah, both sides were recently demoted from the Premiership, so we would be expecting a sort of high level of Shinty between the two, and a fierce competition as it proved to be. Glenurquhart do go through to the semi-finals, so they maintain their chance for redemption after their relegation last year, but Skye definitely will be disappointed with that result. Strathglass 3 and Beauly 2. Another close result during these semi-finals, not semi-finals, quarter-finals, sorry. Strathglass will be delighted. Last year I know that Beauly sort of got the better of them a couple of times, and Beauly did finish quite a bit higher in the league, but Beauly at the moment seem to be falling apart, really. Yeah,
they're really struggling. I mean, I played them a few weeks ago in the national, and they just look like a team without any direction right now. There just doesn't seem to be things clicking. There's no one really stepping up as a clear leader. No one taking the initiative, and it's very difficult because I think their manager's been finding it very difficult, and as a result, after the game against Strathglass, he resigned. But we should talk a little bit about Alan, because he's been a stalwart for Shinty. You know, he travels a tremendous amount of miles. He lives north of Inverness. He lives all the way in Helmsdale, so he's travelling through to every game, week in, week out. He's done Beauly very proud, but I feel like maybe it was the last straw for him, or maybe it was. I thought maybe he wasn't getting enough from his players, so. He will be missed, but you know, this is Shinty, and we need to keep moving ahead.
Yeah. This is a time for Beauly need to sort of take a step back. They're out the cup. They need to reevaluate really, and restructure themselves. Get someone good, strong at the top of the club, that's maybe fresh, and someone that the players need to readjust to. As you said, Alan did do wonders for the club. He's been committed for numerous amounts of years. But yeah, it's changing now, and Beauly are going to have to sort of restructure before they lose many more points during the national. Strathglass will be buzzing with that result, and you'd have to say that they're praying to sort of tie Glen, the only other national side. The other two, of course, being Newtonmore and Canusie, who you'd think they would lose to.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are hoping for a Newtonmore Canusie final. But Strathglass, honestly, it's so great to see them at this stage of the competition. Not many people would have written about this at the start of it, and yeah, I really hope that Strathglass reach the final. They're a great side. I even remember playing for them myself once. I played in the cup against Glenurquhart in the pre-season training. One of my friends from Edinburgh Uni just roped me into it. So they're a good team, and they're a physical team too, and they're a team of hard workers, and it's never an easy game against Strathglass. So whoever they get drawn, I mean, it will not be a walkover at any point.
Not at all. So moving on, Newtonmore 6 and Caberfay 2. I was happy to see this happen. Clearly, very biased.
Of course he was.
Very biased. But yeah, a triple brace for Newtonmore, with Evan Menzies getting 2, Ian Robinson getting 2, and Glenn McIntosh getting 2. These three forwards, all of which have scored a hat-trick at some point in the season, and we've been bashing on Greg Matheson this, Savio Giannini this. Yeah, they're getting goals, but as a side, Newtonmore's whole forward line are getting goals, rather than one specific person that you're relying on who could easily be shut down. I'm chuffed to see that these boys are bagging the goals between them. They're sharing the love, as it were. Caberfay again struggling, as they are in the Premiership as well. They'll be disappointed going to the Cup, but at least it's against a worthy side to lose to, really. So moving on, the semi-finals are coming up next. As I said, we don't know at this time. We are lined up for a Newtonmore Canusie final. It could be if Newtonmore Canusie aren't drawn for this next round in the semi-final, then it could be Newton Moore KC final. What would you prefer to watch as a viewer, non-biased viewer?
I think everyone's wanting a KC Newton Moore final. It adds that bit of flair on Cup final day, but there's part of me that wants to see a national side face up against the Premiership side and show them that they're worth it. Glenurquhart, as Duncan was saying, want a bit of redemption. If they get to the final, then anything could happen. They're a strong side, they've got experience, and even though they're a league below, I don't think that'll make too much of a difference on a final day. These things can happen on a final, and usually, even if you're a league below or above, it usually doesn't show on a final day.
Yeah, exactly. Anything is possible. You can think all you want, all this planning and preparation going up to the final. Oh, well, Newton Moore going into it thinking, well, we're the Premiership side, we're playing Glenurquhart, they've just been demoted, we beat them in pre-season as a friendly. But you go into your cocky, they come at you, anything can happen, you go a goal down, it's a heavy backed, it might be raining that day, you can't play your right shinty, and who knows, there could be injuries, suspensions, which Newton Moore are on the edge of, but of course I'm speculating here, we're not in the final yet, no one is. But yeah, I think it would be interesting no matter what final we're going to get, it's going to be a good game to watch. So that rounds us up at the end of week 8. I've been Duncan Gorman. I've been joined here by Nathan Weir. Thanks again for listening to the Feet and Away Results podcast. We'll catch you in a couple of weeks.
See ya.